Rob Hatter. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the Chop Shop. Yeah, it's lit in the Chop Shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based in debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30, let's do a first take. On Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Ray, Skip Bayless and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal. To the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you write your will. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket. Put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, he hit me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the Chop Shop, cause they cutting up. It's Retro coming to you live to the Chop Shop. Now let's turn it up. Yeah, we in the Chop Shop, man. Shout out to Jim Hicks and Rob Hatter. You can catch the Chop Shop live from 12 to 2 on Facebook Live. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop.
H-Town! What's up? You know what time it is. It's time for the best 120 minutes of your day. The Chop Shop, the nation's #1 urban sports talk show, and also your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Robert Hatter, with the Jim Hicks, the cheat sheet, the high school sports guru is in the building. Jimmy is Women Rock Wednesday, and I'm watching my women that pops up on the show. Jimmy Lori Dawson is in the house. Mindy Collins is in the house. And Tyanda Holmes is already in the house. And Angie Stewart. Holcomb is in the house, Jimmy, on Women Rock Wednesday. Boy, I had to make sure, but I just got, I got to look out for my women. But Jimmy, let me go somewhere right quick. Jimmy, you remember Monday? I said it was Jack Yates Day. Yeah, remember that. I tweeted it out and I liked somebody's page. I said, it's, what the day is?
What the day is?
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Hightower Day today. It's hurricane season today, Jimmy. Jimmy, let me tell you something, man. I saw something last night. This is your expertise, so I got to defer to you. But let me tell you something, Jimmy. And last night, I saw it was like an artist painting his masterpiece. You remember Michelangelo laying on his back, painting the Sistine Chapel, Jimmy? A masterpiece. Young Bryce Griggs, Stephen Woods, Cam Collins, Christopher O'Neal, Chris Harris Jr., Javon, I'm calling my dudes' names out. No, you hold on. I got their names. Hold on. Chris Harris Jr., let me tell you something. Ja'Cory Chapman, Nicholas Hale, John Robinson, and Markel James, and Xavier Powell. Those the guys that played in the game last night. Shout out to those young men because, Jimmy, you know what I saw? Those young men got over a mental hurdle. They A lot of these guys had never beat Shadow Creek. And I'm going to talk about Shadow Creek again because my hat got to go off to them too. But these guys got over a mental hurdle, and I was so proud of them last night. So now, Jimmy, I just had to get that off my chest. I got a little bit more now, but I got to let you. This what you do. I'm going to let you do it.
First of all,
you was in the building last night. What's happening?
The champ is here. So we start to all you guys give a shout out. Understand something. There are several high school coaches that watch the Chop Shop daily, or every other day, or once a week, or whatever. And understand something. To watch the Chop Shop, remember I told you, if you're in a good mood, then you can be productive in the rest of your day in your workplace.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Stephen Woods, the head coach of Hightower High School, that's the same Stephen Woods you see on the timeline in the Boom Boom Room.
Bad man.
Guess what? So some coaches might say, man, I ain't got time for that. I got to prepare for a game. Well, how did Stephen Woods prepare for a game? And he watches the Chop Shop every day. You know why? Because the Chop Shop makes him laugh. It makes him feel good. If you feel good, then you can produce. Your output per minute improves. I just updated RCS Sports VIP News with a brief recap of last night's game. I may go back in there and add some more stuff later, but just put things in perspective. Last night was the biggest game of the young career of Bryce Griggs in the confines of Hightower High School. I mean, that was the biggest game of his high school career. You know why? People would say, well, the Hoopsgiving class, the Thanksgiving Hoop Fest, that was big because he got a chance to go against Kelly. No, that was an individual. That the loser of that game didn't make you come in second or third or five. That was a showcase. It's different when you're showcasing a talent versus you are being in control of the steering wheel to drive your team to victory. The team, this was a win. And the only people that you would be concerned about that's why I say there's no such thing as a bad game in the big game. And people will go in there. A lot of you guys, you laugh at that slogan, my little cliche, often, right until it pertains to somebody related or directed or attached to your heart. Then it's like, then an excuse come with, well, so-and-so had the flu, or so-and-so his wrist was hurting, so-and-so his ankle was hurting, his knee was hurting, back was hurting, had a headache, what else didn't make his bed. But the same excuses you would not accept from other people. The thing is, when I use this is, in most cases, it's not the end all, and it doesn't define the entire career of a kid. These young people are going to have bad games. You know why? Because we can tell how inconsistent they are leading up until that big game. If you see a kid grooving like that in stats, then guess what? Then you should expect it. Last night, there were 3 players on Shadow Creek's team that are ranked right now in all of Greater Houston's top 20. 3 in the top 20. That's Ramon Walker, who I gave plenty of props last week on TV. So you can't say I ain't been shining light on Ramon Walker. If you go back and watch Channel 57, you need me to go and tape it for you and send it to you, I will. Will Young, who's the leading scorer on the team, and Will Young did well last night.
He showed up. Will showed up. Yes.
And Sean Jones, who's a 10th grader, that's currently ranked number 3 in all of Greater Houston. Remember, ain't no such thing as a bad game in a big game. What do those 3 guys have in common? In this game last night, Bryce Griggs Understand. I understand that Shadow Creek was a little bit stifled on defense when they came out. They did like they never saw 1-3-1, probably hadn't in their life, didn't make the adjustments. But bottom line, no matter what, they got plenty of open looks, and they were 2 for 18 from the field in the first quarter. 2 for 18. You follow me, guys? So meanwhile, whatever your shortcomings was on offense, on defense, Bryce Griggs scored 11 points in the first quarter. Shadow Creek entire team had 6. Hightower led 18-6. I put this thing like this. I put it in perspective. Every single quarter, once again, Bryce had 11 in the first quarter. Shadow Creek had 6. Of that 6, all of those 6 points were scored. Will Young had 5. Ramon Walker had 1. He hit a free throw. So obviously nobody from the team scored. So Bryce Griggs had more points than the whole Shadow Creek team in the first quarter. Obviously he had more points than Will Young, Ramon Walker, and Sean Jones combined. However, every single quarter, Bryce Griggs outscored all 3. Hightower's big 3 were outscored by the one player from Hightower every single quarter. I mean, if you reset the score and gauge their points versus his points, he outscored all 3 of them. Let that soak in.
Yeah.
Every quarter, not almost every quarter, every quarter he outscored those 3 guys combined. Not outscored one, then outscored the combined. You follow me, guys?
Wow, hell of a stat, yeah, Jim. I didn't even think about it. You know, see, that's why I said to refer to you. Jimmy, I was caught up in the moment. I ain't gonna tell you, that was the most enjoyable game that I've been to in a long time. Keep on going. I know you got something else.
And so I was looking 46 points. Once again, is what Bryce Griggs finished with. Mm-hmm. And a win. 46 and a win. And that means Hightower is now, they're still a half game behind Shadow Creek, but they're tied in the loss columns with 1 loss apiece, meaning that Shadow Creek only has 1 more district game remaining, and Hightower has 2.
Okay.
You see?
Gotcha.
And Hightower will finish the season against Manville, which Manville is a team that is in the playoff hunt. They are currently in 4th place. They took a loss to Foster last night, which pretty much seemed they're not done yet. Okay. Because the loss with Manville, they have Marshall and Terry and possibly Willow Ridge right breathing down their throat, 1 game behind. Something like that. So shout out to Hightower. It was a great crowd, great atmosphere as expected. It's sold out.
Jimmy, did you see the crowd? Jimmy, you know I got the crowd. I want to let the people who didn't have a chance to get there, on the screen, you will see these were some of the most memorable, and some of these people didn't get in, but let me tell you something. It was without incident. You know, people just came in there to watch a game of basketball. I mean, I'm muting us out again. But I enjoy it. Let me tell you something. Like I said, every one of these, I know the struggles these kids had to come through these seasons. I remember people talking about Ja Robinson. You ain't going, that boy did this to you. That boy did this to you. That young man came back in this game. You know, other people talking about what he didn't do. I saw what he did do. Cameron Collins. I got to remember, I have to call. Yes, Bryce did that. But let me tell you something. These guys, I get a chance. I'm blessed enough to get a chance to go by there and watch these guys practice. I get a chance to go by when these guys work out on Sunday sometime. So I got to have a shout out. And I'm going to call their names again in case you wasn't on the show. Xavier Powell, Christopher O'Neal, KO. This night, he got into foul trouble because he was anchoring down that 1-3-1 zone that they haven't really played, and he just got out. He was being aggressive and got a few fouls, so he had to sit down a while. But then the young fella, Corey Chapman, came in. Same thing. It was his time to come in, the 10th grader to come in, but he got fouled. But he did his thing. He played his role. Javon Butler, he came in. You know, and well, LeVon, I love you, baby, but LeVon, you have me nervous sometimes when you come in the game. But you came in and was steady. You know, Javon, I got to tell this story. I remember one time, Coach told you can't take the ball out no more. Your own coach said it out loud. But Javon, but guess what, sir? You redeemed yourself last night. Chris Harris, let me tell y'all something. I can't say enough about the defense that Chris Harris plays in and how he leads the defensive charge. Him and KO, I mean, it's just a lot of people don't appreciate. I watch the game so much, and I get a chance to watch him in practice, Jimmy. That's why. Cameron Collins, he was just steady. Right before the game, I'm sitting there talking to a guy, and I promise you, the first thing I said, when you know how they make the call-outs and they come out, you know, the introductions, I said, however Cam Collins go, that's how this team going to go today. And Cam showed up in a big way. Nicholas Hale, Markel James. Man, let me tell you something. Yes, I'm proud of Bryce. But Bryce got a group of teammates that understand, our big dog is rolling tonight. Let him just take us on in. We just going to do the other stuff. And let's take, that's what teams are made of. That's what teams are made of, man. I tell y'all, man, it just, y'all don't understand. I was so proud of those young men. And people got to understand, it's not that, and Jimmy, sometimes I had to get a disclaimer because I got a text one day. Why you like Bryce Griggs so much? Let me tell you something. About Bryce, 16 years old, right? About 15 years ago, his dad brought his brother up here to play from Lake Jackson to play with my son on our AAU team. Little bitty 9 and under team, little bitty team that happened to go off and win the national championship 2 years in a row. The Jaguars, Houston Jaguars. So Bryce was one. Let's get this straight. One. Okay? So then he grew up, got bigger. So his brother played on my other AAU team. Just so happened, DJ Griggs always happened to be, Bryce's brother, always happened to be on a team around my son and with my son for the rest of their career. DJ was 1 year older. So Bryce was the little kid that's in the gym, just in the way. I used to have to push off the court because we couldn't practice because he going to grab the ball and go shoot it at every break. This the relationship that I have with this family. I've been knowing the boy since he was a baby. So guess what? Then, Jimmy, his dad, he rise to fame. Then his dad took 6 and his dad passed away. And he told me, look out for my family. So all of you people just don't understand the situation. Bryce, it's like family to me. I didn't know he was going to be this good because he used to be a football player. But guess what? The young kid, I've never seen a kid work harder. I've never seen Mr. Yeah. Let me tell you what happened this morning. So crazy. His auntie was checking on him this morning and messing with him, talking about, Bryce, you in class? His teacher, Jimmy, his teacher tweeted out something. I'm going to put it on the screen. This what his teacher print out. A pre-algebra, AP pre-algebra. He got a 95 average in that class. She said, after dropping 46 last night, Griggs arrived early to my first period this morning to finish his homework. That's the kind of stuff. How you do anything is how you do everything. These the kind of kids y'all got over there at Hightower. Okay, I'm just letting you know it's basketball, but it's just not all basketball to me. Those are the kind of kids y'all got. Those are the kind of kids I'm gonna always root for. I'm gonna root for every kid, but those kids got a special place in my heart, and that's it. And guess what? Juice, Will, he got a special place in my heart. I've been knowing his daddy for a million years, his granddad for a million years. His son, his uncle, your uncle played with my son. So let me tell you something, Jimmy. Like I said, I had a great night. I saw you over there when you walked in the door. I said, "Oh, Jimmy gonna jinx us." But hey, Jimmy, you can come to all the High Tower games from now on. You can come to all. You my good luck charm. But that's all I wanted to say, y'all. I just had to explain that, y'all. I just want. But Jimmy, what else you got, man?
As far and to give you more details and stats from the game, a lot of you guys may know back, around 19 years. I've been covering the Greater Houston High School basketball scene, and a lot of the times back in the days, I don't do it as much. But one of my things always, I told you guys, I had an acute infatuation with stats.
Yeah.
In basketball, I told you guys, in basketball, got at Cashmere High School back in the early 80s. I mean, I got hit. We used to run. I got hit by a car. So, I mean, I was riding the bench anyway. But hit by a car made me, I couldn't even play no more. I really was a baseball star. But in high school, everybody somehow you had to do, not everybody, unless you just was a real jock on football, But two sports was like, that validated you. One of your sports was basketball, And so anyway, my point is, I used to keep stats. So stats, when I started doing this, I used to go to the gyms all the time. Every game I go to, I would keep stats. Yeah. I ended up creating my own RCS Sports stat sheets.
I see it. Yeah.
And I provided them to Doug Jones. He went and he was flossing on Twitter the other day and showed you guys a few of the recent stat sheets that I created.
Doug had a stack of them though. Doug been working.
Yeah, and so those stat sheets of people in the stands. That's why a lot of the times I always tell you guys, pay attention to people that's supposed to understand. Evaluating is one thing. Right. Not many people have the capacity and have a thing. Now, me, I have a way of doing it most of the time. I remember stuff in between quarters. I write myself a note down or put it in my phone. That's how I normally do, or during the timeout. But in this particular game, because it was so many top 20 players on the court, I say, let me create a shot chart. Now, I didn't have one of my own sheets with me. See what I'm saying? So I had my little book.
He had that little pad with you. I
called it the good book. I had the good book with me. And so this is what a shot chart looks like for each quarter.
Yeah.
And at the top of the page, Heather, I put notes. Do you see what that says right at the top?
Yeah.
What did it say at the top of the game? I had a note.
It said High Tower 131 defense. 1.5 at the minute and 52 mark. BG did his hard and step back.
You see, those are little. So whenever there's something in the game that's a bookmark, I make a note outside of the shot chart so that I can remember.
Jim, I'm gonna let you talk. Let me push this button. Talking now, talk. I'm just showing. They showing what you're talking about, but keep going.
Yeah, and so this is what, and little notes as of such, it helps me to Shadow Creek started in the man-to-man defense. They had number 10, who was on Bryce Griggs, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that way now, it just helps to interpret what's going on. And number 10's name is Rodney Bird.
Okay.
Rodney Bird, he actually played a good game.
Yeah, I like him.
He played a good game.
I like him.
He had 11 points. Rodney Bird played a good game.
Yes.
But his assignment, and there was a guy sitting right next to me that was like, he was a pro Shadow Creek fan and claimed he had a bunch of bread bet on the game, and he ended up leaving in the fourth quarter. He left. He dashed. He was mad as hell. And he tapped me on the shoulder. I would never turn around because I wasn't going to engage him. And I was working, and so that's why a lot of times, my point is, a lot of the media, when they're working, this is one of the reasons that it's not always safe for the working media to sit in the midst of the parents and the relatives or the section, because that person has the ability to look over your shoulder. And I know that now as a seasoned vet and stuff. I couldn't write some of the notes I really wanted to write about some kids because during the course of the game, because I don't know whose relative is on my left shoulder, who's over my right shoulder, what's going on, what a kid need to, and that's the reason. But they do know what I was doing, because you're noticing it's like a bunch of circles. But once again, Bryce Griggs was 16 for 30 from the field, 46 points. Mm-hmm. He was 5 for 9 from 3-point land.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Which is well over 50% from 3-point land. Mm-hmm. And he was 9 for 12 from the free throw line. Mm. It was a magnificent game because every game he had meaningful buckets. So you know how people say sometimes you got empty calories, you got empty buckets. There was no, in the fourth quarter, yeah. You might can say, but understand, Shadow Creek had closed a 20-point deficit to only 3 points, 43 to 40, midway through the third quarter. So they had made a significant run. And guess what? Every time it come down to it and needed be, Bryce Griggs or one of his teammates showed up. I do like what I saw from Chris Collins. He only had 9. He had 9.
Cameron.
See, you say
Cameron Collins.
Cameron Collins. Yeah. Cameron Collins had 9 key points.
Yes, sir.
Active.
Yes.
He was, and I really, you mentioned a young fella, Hale. I was so glad when Sean Woods put him in the game. Yeah. Because I felt really, I'm like, this man went through all this turbulence to try to gain eligibility. Yes. He went to Shadow Creek 2 seasons ago. Went to Provision, tried to come and all type of stuff. Yeah. And he hasn't been able to earn the opportunity to put his fingerprints on a lot of the Hightowers victories this season. Right. Well, last night he came in there. Yeah. And he missed a couple of jumpers. Yeah. But the thing is, I liked his energy.
I loved his energy.
And especially being a lefty. He being one of your only southpaw front court guy. I'm gonna say it again, especially after watching last night. Coach Woods, I know you got 1 game, well, you got 2 games left. Hopefully you can find a way to get that young man some more burn as a reward, because on that bench, he wasn't moping.
No.
That's the thing. See, I always watch the bench. No. I watch the bench a lot. A lot of people don't watch the bench. They watching the court. Hell, I'm watching the bench. I'm watching to see who's high-fiving some of their teammates when they come out the game. I'm watching to see who's sitting there during the timeouts, who's engaged. I'm watching to see who's not engaged.
And Jimmy, think about this, Jimmy. Nick is also Will Young's best friend. Yeah. I just want to give you that tidbit. You can keep going. Yes.
And so I'm like I said, listen. I hope, because here's why I'm saying I'm hoped. This young man is, if you look at the bench and you say, damn, that dude ain't playing. I'll put it like this. You find me this kid might average probably 4 minutes a game on this Hightower team. I'm willing to go right now on the ledge and say, I'll bet my right pocket right now. You can't find me not one front court guy in all of the state of Texas that averages 5 minutes or less a game that's better than this kid. That's my point. To show you what I'm saying.
You talking about starting?
Any person in the state of Texas who's a reserve.
A reserve. That's better than I got you.
That plays 5 minutes or less. Hell, I increased it to 10 minutes or less. That's better than Nate. I mean, than the little Hale kid. He's not bad.
I love this team, man.
Now, thing is, Hale if you listening, you better find a way. And sometimes it comes down to not paying attention because we not in practice. Sometimes it comes down to who's late for this, who's not doing this in the classroom.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're not there. That's why I tell you, but whatever you're not doing, you need to step it up. That's off the court. You need to step it up.
Yeah.
Because I got a feeling, and I remember this. Let me tell you why I remember. Did you remember when Katie Tompkins went to state?
Yeah, with Jamal Benjamin?
With Jamal Benjamin and that crew, right?
Yeah.
They came one bucket short.
Yes.
Right?
I was there, yes.
Lost at the buzzer to Allen High School in overtime. Remember now, during this game, Tompkins had a white kid that's at Georgia Tech right now named Christian Sholin.
Yes.
6'8", went to Georgia Tech, was going to transfer, still made train, decided to stay the spring semester, still probably going to transfer. But my point is this. In that game, he was not having a good game at all. The coach from Tompkins actually benched this young man. He got benched in the state championship game. Got benched. They had a big fella on the bench that was 6'8". And I used to always tell the coach, say, Coach, you got to play that guy. You got to play him because you may need this dude one day. Never played him hardly that much. And when it come down to needing him, you needed him in the biggest game of all, the brightest lights of all, and you expecting him to pick up the gap. You got to play some of those guys when you can. And then the starters, this is where team come in effect at. The starters, if you're up by a certain amount of points, you should want, coach. Every starter should pick a guy off their bench that's be their guy.
Yeah.
That means you got camaraderie. I want all my starters. I'm not a coach, but I can coach in life.
That's good.
So if I got 5 starters, each 5 of y'all pick one of your guys, one of your dudes. And one of those dudes, if we're up by, let's say, 20 in the first half, 15 in the third quarter, 10 in the second quarter, that guy gets to get 2 of your minutes.
Coach, you know what we used to do, Jimmy? We used to talk about it with Coach. Coach, if we get up this amount, you got to get our dudes in. Tell us what we got to do to get out there.
That's camaraderie.
We used to do that.
When you can and understand this, if it's known, and if that happens, Coach, all you have to do is share that information with us because now we can justify why that young man who did the sacrifice, if he might have had only 8 points, 7 points. Hell, I'm gonna treat it like he had 20 because he gave up. He was willing to sacrifice some of his shine so that his homeboy, his teammate, his brother could get some shine. When you see that, which is very rare,
right,
then you know your team has what it takes to be champions on and off the court. You see, on the court is one thing, but off the court, you're teaching life lessons. You don't understand. Let me tell you for starters, that kid's parents, if they find out that a kid did that, the second string, the reserve, now their heart is going to warm up to that kid. Man, I can't believe that young man did that. I sit there thinking he was selfish all year long. Now, look at what he's done. You know what, young man, I'm down with you. You never know. Because a lot of reserves, believe it or not, guys, a lot of people in administration, and a lot of these teams, they was riding the bench. A lot of these analytical guys and all this, they was on the bench. Right. They was in reserves. So you never know when you might need them in years to come. But that's what I want to give you guys on that hot tower.
And Jimmy, I would like to share the state of Houston basketball. I'm watching, I think a couple of days ago, early in the week, Deshaun Watson and Andre Johnson, they went out to the Atascocita game. And then we got, Deshaun Watson came in and came by the game, and him and Bryce talked a little bit, and he gave Bryce some words of encouragement, said, dude, you can go far in this thing. Just keep God first. Keep doing what you're doing. And just say, I'm looking out for you. Then went out and followed him on his social media. So Deshaun Watson is following Bryce Griggs now. So I guess they whatever y'all call it, followers. So
I mean, it admiring the
Yeah.
game. And another thing, Deshaun Watson was definitely in attendance, seated half court.
yeah,
He didn't want no special seat behind under the goal. He was seated right there with the fans.
right.
And the thing about it, once again, I pay attention.
Mhm.
A lot of stars would probably lead a game at halftime.
No,
He stayed there.
he went to the concession stand.
Dude,
Jimmy, he went to the concession stand.
when 11 at halftime, I thought he was gone.
No, he went to the concession stand. Just like everybody else.
You know, so once again, off the court is what let people know and it helps to define you. So what happens is people, let's say like Deshaun Watson, who's been to 2 high school games on 2 totally different sides of town. Both of them were sellouts in consecutive weeks.
Yeah.
So you can't tell Deshaun Watson that H-Town basketball ain't popping. That's what I'm saying. People think, that's why I keep telling you guys, a lot of people think that we got it so bad when you just have to understand. Sometimes the talent is just not going to be as great as it was yesteryear. It's going to be that way. And some days, just like some days it's going to be cloudy, some days it's going to be rainy, snowy, whatever, depending on what part of the country you live in, and some are going to be sunny. It's going to be like that. And so, but props to Deshaun for taking the time out of his, think about it. Houston Rockets were playing the Boston Celtics last night.
He got season tickets.
He said, I'm going to Hightower versus Shadow Creek.
Yeah.
He has no kinfolk. He's not from here.
No.
You follow me? Now his
girlfriend is from here.
She went to Ridge Point. So she has no. Fight.
But her friend she was with, she went to Hightower.
Okay.
Her friend she was with, she went to Hightower. It's always come. And Jimmy, Eric Marlin was in the building. Passed right by you. Braylon Addison was in the building. These legends at Hightower, they coming back supporting their team. You know, Braylon played with the Hamilton Tiger Cats this year. I think he's going to get a job with the NFL this year. He was in the building.
Wow.
Yes. Unbelievable.
So that was pretty much on the Hightower guys.
Yeah, that's good.
Let's move on. Last night, there was a lot of stuff that happened last night that was definitely great. And one of the things, of course, is Jack Yates.
Yeah.
Set the national record after scoring 100 points for the 16th consecutive game. Right? And one of the things last night, I got breaking news for you guys coming up shortly also. But one of the things last night is that head coach Greg Wise hit me at close to midnight with one hell of a thing that and I wanted to share for once I mentioned about that camaraderie. Well, of course they were beating the snot out of the team. They scored, but last night in the win. But last night at the Houston Rocket game, during the Houston Rocket game, the broadcast crew of the Houston Rocket game against the Boston Celtics, during the game, they acknowledged the Jack Yates Lions for breaking the record during the game. During the game, they put up a thing on the screen on the TV. You watching only for the people that's watching is on the Rockets home games are broadcast
on the
AT&T Sports Net.
Yeah.
During the game, they put up a thing one thing it said the kid from Philadelphia 76ers are Comats. He's averaging 32.5 points in his last 2 games. We thinking about Simmons and Embiid. This kid is averaging 32.5. Then also, Toronto Raptors, their 15-game winning streak is the franchise record. Then in the same caption, it had Jack Yates High School, national high school record, 16 straight games with 100 points. And, one of the things about it is that people knew that Yates was trying to get this record, those kids. In doing so, here's what I got from the game, Adam. Do you realize that in that game, Yates, the team, as a team, they scored 122 points, right? Guess what? They had 9 players score double figures.
That'll get it right there.
No, that's the camaraderie.
No.
Think about it. Let that soak in. You think that's easy to do? You tell me another high school this year that will have 9 players score double digits in a high school game.
Jimmy, that's at least 90. At least 90.
That's at least 90. And I'll put it like this. So guess how much? Think about it like, let me add something else to it.
Okay.
They had 9 players score double digits for Jack Yates, and the highest person was 19. Nobody scored 20. Nobody was stat pad. You beating the snot out this team. Reuben Jones, who signed with North Texas, scored 19 points to lead Jack Yates in the win. They had, once again, 9 players last night. 16 points was Antoine Norman, right? 12 points was Latrell Moore, right? 12 points was Alan Ubinmadu, right? 12 points was Chooks Istatua, right? 10 points was Darrell Brown. 10 points, Elijah Elliott. I missed 11 points, Jamarcus Guy. And 10 points, Joseph Ross. That's the 9 players. And they had 1 player, Mark Anthony Batts, had 8 points. He couldn't get it. You should have gave him a layup somehow.
Come on, Mark.
And it would have been 10 with 10. Understand? You know, that's not saying that every team should do that, but that's how you know that the camaraderie, you can help build that camaraderie at this time of year. So now, as Greg Wire's proven, his starters ain't playing all the minutes now. That's my point. Remember, he had to, or he felt he had to, because he wasn't going to turn his back and deprive his kids. They had got this close to the record and not trying to get there because they were running the clock. Well, they still running the clock once you get up by 50. But they're not running it during free throws in HISD. So shout out to Jack Yates.
And Jimmy, guess what? Look what Martin Ranch has done. You remember people left Martin Ranch for dead. Eddie was down. You know, Agent Caldwell was up and down, in and out of the lineup. Jimmy, they done went and almost swept that district. What LJ have last night, Jimmy?
LJ Cry had 37 points last night and a win.
And Wesley had 18, 11, and 5.
Huh?
And Wesley Saunders had 18 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists.
That's a good line for Wesley.
Yes.
A good line from Wesley. Great line in a win over the team that was in second place. Mind you.
Oh.
Katy was in second place. They're still in second place.
Okay.
So you beat the second place team and you had this type of game. And guess what, guys? One thing I like this year's regional tournament should be very exciting.
Why? Give me some.
Well, because there are so many teams that are doing well and have the capacity to get there. And one of the teams that and they have, just like last year, they're going to be upsets. Remember, George Ranch made it to the regional tournament last year. Made it to one game from going to state.
Yeah.
George Ranch. Remember, the year before that, guess who made it? A-Lee Taylor made it to the regional tournament. Upset Sam Houston.
A-Lee who?
A-Lee Taylor. Remember, they knocked off Kendrick Davis, ended his career.
Oh, okay.
A-Lee Taylor hit a shot in overtime. You remember this? That young cat called the shot. Say, Coach, call my number, give me the shot. I got this. He told the guys to spread out, ran the clock down to the 1 to 2, 3 seconds, lifted up on the right elbow, let off a jumper, nothing but net. And this young man is starring right now, I think at UT Dallas or one of those small colleges up there. But the thing is, man, also around the area, guess who lost last night? Speaking of Jack Yates.
Who?
Silsbee.
Again?
Silsbee lost again. Yes. So Silsbee has lost, right? How would I say it? They've lost back-to-back games for the first time since 2004 in district play. That's 16 years. It's been 16 years since Silsbee has lost back-to-back district games. It's their second district loss in a season since 2007. But how do you think? Bryce was cooking with 46 last night. LJ was cooking with some 37.
My nephew, that's how we do.
Guess what? Braylon Bush,
What Braylon Bush?
he had 47 last night.
But in a loss.
In a loss. That's
Them
why.
two dudes had them in wins.
In a loss.
Okay.
In a big loss. Because you know what this loss means? That game last night was basically targeted, dubbed by some folk as the Jack Yates Bowl. Because whoever lose that game would have to face Yates in the second round.
Oh, man.
Possibly. Don't get it twisted now. Hardin Jefferson is the team who beat Silsbee. They're in first place. But they still must play the team called Hampshire Frenette, who beat Silsbee the other day. That still had to take place now. So, guys, hold tight.
Hey, Jimmy, we always, we have latecomers who been in meetings. Stacy talking about, did Mr. Hicks have a good time explaining why he was wrong on his prediction? Jimmy didn't address that. Hey, tell what you said, Jimmy. You said 75% you right anyway.
Oh yeah, that's not on that. Talking about the game on the high
tower game. You said by 2.
That was a good coming into that game. That was a good. If you think about that range, that was about right. What did I have? What reason did I have to pick Hightower to win when that team? And I gave it yesterday. So otherwise it's a blatant disrespect. If I felt Hightower should be a favorite over the number of the team that's ranked ahead of them, then why don't I rank Hightower ahead of that team before the week start?
I ain't think about that.
If I felt they should have beat them, the team that's ranked higher should always be favored if you're doing the rankings. That's why. Otherwise, why did you rank that team higher than that team?
I got you. I like that. Even in the state. So, Jimmy, when stuff like that happens, do they rank it weekly? So if the number 3 team beat the number 2 team in the states, I know it, like in the AP is different. How does it work in the state rankings?
Next year, like going into this game last night, Hightower was number 3, Shadow Creek was number 2. Hightower will be number 2, and at least, and Shadow Creek would go no lower than number 5 in the state poll. They would go no lower. Now they could punish them for losing by double digits. They could, so I can see them dropping to number 5 at the lowest by the TABC. That's the state poll that Hatters referring to. Okay. And Doug Jones on the line right now. I see what's going on, Stacy up in Dallas. What's going on, Sharp Davis?
Are you listening to Stacy? Stacy's trying to. Are you listening to Stacy, Jim? I see you're ignoring. He got into the party late. What's up, Doug? He got to the party. He said one of Houston media sources tweeted that Bryce Griggs is the best player in Houston.
Man, once again, just like last night, and I explained this to Hatter before weeks ago. If you just let it just play itself out.
Wow, sure did.
Everybody wants to take the meat out the skillet before it's done. Let it play itself out. And then you know what happens then? Nobody can say you cheated it, you shortchanged it. Bryce is not taking the toll road on this. He's going all the way through traffic to drive to his destination.
Yeah.
And so that's why you guys know, and Hatter know, we converse about him all the time off the camera. Yeah. But on here, I'm holding my stance, the same stance that I would allot toward any of those young men. And that way it doesn't me, I'm not leaning to, I'm letting him earn it,
Yeah.
then I speak on it. And if he don't earn it, then I'm going to speak on it and hold him accountable. Just like I did Ramon Walker and Sean Jones and Will Young collectively as a unit, albeit Will Young did have 19 points last night. We understand that. He showed up. But when the team, they were down by 3, Will Young turned that ball over. Could have put them down, tied them up, and could have turned it down. So they all collectively as a cohesive unit. Shadow Creek is still good, y'all guys. They're still great for 5A basketball. Don't get it twisted.
Oh, yes, sir.
And Ramon Walker suffered an arm injury during the closing seconds. The X-rays and the doctor, we will know today the extent or the magnitude of his injury or how long he probably would miss. They only have one district game left. I'm not expecting him to play on Friday. They have a whole week off after that, which is great. Mind you, they play Friday and Shadow Creek is done for one whole week. They don't play until the February the 23rd or the 24th or the 25th, depending on the coin flip. Now back to this Silsbee thing with Yates. Everybody in Greater Houston was expecting to see a Silsbee and Yates maybe in the regional tournament again, possibly in the finals. That still can happen, but it may be very well that Yates could play Silsbee in the second round and Lamarck in the third round. Those are two teams that's been ranked in the state all season long, or pretty much most of this season. Lamarck is the home of Jordan Ivy Curry, who's leading now. That means both of those teams, what do they have in common? Silsbee and Lamarck both have the #1 and #2 leading scorer in Greater Houston. Hell, might be in the state. Maybe in the state this season. #1 and #2 leading scorers. That Yates and those teams are pretty solid. You know, Lamarck has a fair share of solid wins this year. They beaten Episcopal. You know, they beaten Silsbee already this year. Remember Braylon Bush and Jordan Ivy Curry, they both combined for about 111 points earlier this season. They beat Cold Spring, who could very well go to state in 3A. You know, beat San Antonio Brennan, a couple other. But so my point is just going up, in other words, the 4A, you won't be able to say that Yates didn't earn their trip if they make it to the state tournament again this year. They will have earned it because they will have to go through the two powerhouse or the two teams that would be the most recognized as the best competition for them en route to going there.
And Jimmy, speaking of Jordan Ivy Curry, I think he is the leader in the state.
Okay.
I got a text, and he got his first D1 offer last night.
Appalachian State.
Okay, that's
offer
good.
Him and which is awesome. That's where it starts at. And Bobby Benjamin has been instrumental. That was his summer coach in helping this young man. And Jordan Ivy Curry, he's reached out to me, and as I told you guys a couple of weeks ago, and I don't get in people's mix. I just give some stern advice, and I, let him know, hey, this is what you don't do, you need to do, and you need to stay focused on winning. The other stuff is going to come.
Yes.
You can't sign nothing until April. So what the hell? Especially if you're the Division I component of it. So as more that he wins, the more they will come. Remember that. It's going to come. And that's how, and one thing about it, when you get to state,
if you make it to state,
if you make it to state, or if you make it deep in the playoff, because if you make it to state, that means you got to knock off Jack Gates and or Silsbee, or more than that. I'm just naming two of the teams that will come in this region. Well, guess what? People are going to take notice, and they're definitely going to take notice. That film against Jack Gates, as I say it again, that video it supersedes pretty much most of your stuff that you've done this season. Know why? Because Jack Gates has two guards who one is a Division I sign and one has a Division I offer. Antoine Norman still has an offer on the table in Prairie View. Byron Smith was in the building last night at Hightower Shadow Creek. University of Texas had a coach present last night in that building. Those were only two of the college coaches that I saw. But the head coach, Byron Smith, was there last night. And we talked about Byron Smith the other day. They're in first place in the SWAC right now. And his head coach took the time out to come down there to watch that game, who was underclassmen dominated. That means he was there watching somebody, one of those unsigned seniors. You see how this stuff works? And because you know why? There could be one that can come as a walk-on, just and this as Faith Williams did from Clear Springs High School, and earn his way into a scholarship. Next week, in the magazine next year, I think I'm going to do an article and find a lot of the most recent walk-ons who earned scholarships or significant playing time at the Division I level. Like the Van Becks, the Chris Collins from Friendswood, I mentioned this young man just a while ago, Faith Williams, Tyreek Armstrong from at TSU, guys that were walk-ons that ended up getting scholarship. But anyway, what's going on, guys? Shout out to all you guys out there.
I think I wanted to add something. You said something about Curry. No, you know what, Jimmy? I talked to a college coach, Jimmy, and he was saying something about, he was just talking about when they come to see these kids. We always talk about we want people to get looks. We won't get, but he shared something that he said, be careful how you label a kid. When I come to see him, he said, and then a kid is not helping his team and a kid is not helping himself. These guys are seniors he was talking about a senior who he came to see. He said he wasn't helping his team and he wasn't helping himself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But everybody been talking about it. He said, if I bring him to my school, he don't know how to play. I'm watching him. I got so much to teach him. The guys that I go and get now have to be able to play now. I don't have to teach him too much. But y'all saying he's a Division I prospect. Not you, Jimmy, but the people who tried to get him to come. He said, people build you up as a defender, and when I come watch you play, you don't even know how to get in help defense either. You can't defend on ball and you can't get in help defense. But they labeling you a defender. When I got there and watched you play, you was lazy and walked up and down the court too much. Then he look at his points. All these points, y'all talking about these guys scoring, right? How many of them are college baskets? All them snowbird layups, 10 of them, 5 of them a game. Excuse me, mom and daddy, summer coaches, those are not college baskets. When little Johnny can't dribble and you just get the ball and steal it from him, not college baskets. A blind man can, this is what he told me. A blind man can get 10 assists passing the ball to LJ Cryer. I'm finna repeat that. He said, a blind man, y'all, I'm telling y'all, this how these college coaches talk. A blind man can get 10 assists passing the ball to LJ Cryer. He said a lot of the guys are inconsistent. One day, Jimmy, like you said, that's why you had to call those highly ranked guys to task. Because that was too big of a game for those guys not to show up. You had to call them to task. Because if the 10th grader had did that, it'd have been on the local news. He said it's just too much walking around. He said something key, mamas and daddies. He said everybody looking for players. But your ass got to be able to play when I get there. Because my job depends on the players I get. Don't y'all ever forget that. In this whole mess, he getting looks. He got it. He said, my job depends on me to get players that can play. So I just thought I'd share that. Because, we got a lot of people just think this stuff easy. No. Ask yourself, how many were college baskets? What else you got, Jim? What they saying on
Well, I mean, all this everybody's talking playoff mode, and I see Rod Wills. He's working. He's asking if Hightower was available for a warm-up game, and we do know. Remember, I said earlier, Yates is probably one of the few schools who have the schedule, because they had a few games that were canceled this year that have a game. We'll be able to play a warm-up game. And
I don't think none of the players, none of the teams, me personally, Jimmy, I don't think none of the teams that that Hightower gonna play that style. So, me looking at them last year, it might be different this year. They play that style. So, hey, Woods is on the air.
He says Hightower doesn't have you only can play a warm-up game if you have not met the maximum allotment of games that you can play during the season. Coach Woods on there, and Walter Yates and a lot of those other high school coaches are on the feed. I think it's 21 games plus 2 tournaments or something like that, or 19 games, 3 tournaments.
So a warm-up game is a real game? They count that a real game?
Not really. Back in the days, the team that lose don't count it toward their loss record, but the team that win counts it toward their winning record. That's how it normally goes.
What's your understanding of the district, the coin flip, and all that? Woods explained it to us a little bit last night, but what's your understanding of it?
Well, a lot of teams depend on the relationship between the coaches and the athletic directors. A lot of people will flip for everything. They will flip for what type of ball they're going to play for. I've seen a situation where 2 coaches, they had to flip for the option to flip for the next thing. Like one didn't want to flip, one did.
Some coaches are assholes, buttholes.
It's relationships. That for like this, Hal, if you played we have a pre-existing relationship, or let's say you ran the score up, or I think I accuse you of playing dirty.
Okay.
Running the score up, stalling the ball against my team, or just cheating.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Not cheating, but somehow having the same referee at your home game, and I'm playing you in the home and home, but your same ref ain't giving. And so I'm mad I might feel some kind of way. I'm not going to make amenities and agree to everything that you wanted to do. So basically on the coin flip, just say, first of all, you have tiebreakers. A lot of teams are going to be tied in their district races, right? Mm-hmm. Well, different districts have different house rules.
Okay.
Remember this. Different districts have different house rules. Okay. The athletic director is the liaison to that. He helps, or she helps, to solve that situation. Some people know the customary way is if one coach wants to play the tiebreaker game and the other coach does not, then they would have to flip. You see? They don't, if one, just say if you want to play, we tied, and you want to play, I don't really want to play, I want to rest my guy. Then we got to flip on that.
Flip whether or not you rest or not.
Yes. And then we get past that. Now we got to go to flip. What would be we can agree on our own for a neutral site, right? And that neutral site would probably be a site, let's say the Shadow Creek and Hightower, which is intriguing.
Yeah, let's talk about that one.
Because Hightower has they have Wheeler Fieldhouse, they have Hobson, but Hobson is on the campus of Hightower High School. So Shadow Creek damn sure wouldn't agree to play to play at Hobson. I'm not sure they would agree to play at Wheeler because Hightower has played games at Wheeler. You don't want to. You don't normally a coach not going to agree to play where you've played several times. See, Shadow Creek they played in most of their home games at their school or at the other team's school. They haven't played a lot of games in the backdrop of a stadium.
Arena.
With a wall behind it, a big white wall. And some kids ain't used to shooting against that. It takes time to get your rhythm on. I mean, it may sound like if you've never done it before, guys, and you may not understand what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So if I had to bet on it, they would pick a place. Normally, Shadow Creek and Hightower don't want to travel to the north side.
Yeah.
But they could. But if I'm them, I would put that game at the Campbell Center, and I would be my tiebreaker there. You know why? It would give each team one extra game. Now, Hightower has played at the Campbell Center this season in the season opener. Mm-hmm. Shadow Creek has played there in the season opener.
This year?
This year. They both played the season opener. Shadow Creek played at Episcopal.
So they don't need to play there again?
No, but that was then. Your whole team wasn't marked. They have added players, both teams, since November the 16th. Whenever you can get a free opportunity to play at the place that you have to go to, where all the marbles are on the line, you want to play at the Campbell Center.
That's a good.
So that's something to take note.
I just don't feel like riding way out there.
Yeah, and understand the reason. And I've seen like Jack Gates, if they get a chance for a neutral site, they're gonna pick Huntsville. And the school they playing against, if it's a neutral site, they should want to do that. Because a lot of people in third round ain't been driving down there for a game, a third round game or a fourth round game. They're gonna do it. So it's just something. That's one of the things you take heed on. Now we have breaking. Now Anissa asked the question: will both coaches want to play? Not sure, Anissa. Not sure.
Yeah. Really
not sure. Now, based on the fact that after this young man from Shadow Creek just got hurt, I don't think Shadow Creek will want to play a warm-up game against Hightower. But no, it's something at stake for the winner of that game. That's why I'm saying this. The winner of the game, whoever comes in first place, Heather, they get pulled off the Memorial in the second round. The loser goes to the other side of the bracket. So you can rest assured, I don't really care about playing Port Arthur Memorial in the second round. You can have a district title. Let me go on to the other side. It worked for Hightower last year, didn't it? Didn't Hightower make it to the regional tournament at the Campbell Center last year? Right? And while Shadow Creek got upended as the number 1 seed out of that same district. So you got to think about it. Sometimes I saw also too much planning, mapping out, trying to avoid this team, avoid that team. It never works the way that team wants. It hardly ever. Somehow they get upset. It backfires in their face. You know?
Yeah, just
Jeremy, why not play at the Berry Center? Jeremy, that's a great question, but here's what I'm explaining to you. The 5A regional finals is at the Campbell Center. The 6A is at the Berry Center. You always would like to, based on a lot of the coaches I've spoken with over the years, you would like to have an opportunity to play in that location where you would have to play. That way it gives your kids an opportunity to get familiar, to re-familiarize themselves with shooting in that arena. The Campbell Center is the largest amateur seating arena in the city. It seats over, I think, approximately 8,300 in the Campbell Center. Right at between 8,300 to 8,500 it seats. That's more than the Fertitta Center. That's more than TSU's H&PE arena. That's more than the Berry Center. That's more than Rice. That's more than in the whole city. Merle Center. So it's hard, meaning that more seats means, that's a harder. That's you want to do that. I'm quite sure. And and really, a lot of times back in the days, I used to serve as a liaison to a lot of those high school coaches. I used to go, I would call one and say, man, y'all might not get along. Understand, the coach from Hightower and the coach from Shadow Creek, they've had recent turbulence because of kids that were transferred to vice versa. From Hightower to Shadow Creek was ruled not eligible, and from Shadow Creek to Hightower, that at first was ruled not eligible, then ended up getting an appeal to go through for them to be declared eligible. So those guys ain't gonna call each other like that. I'm not gonna call you to beg you or to be interpreted as me begging you to play me where I feel so desired to do so. No, the hell with you. So that means they'll let the administrators kind of deal with that. Now, certain administrators ain't gonna understand the dynamics like what I just presented. That's why a game like that could very well end up being played. Mind you, it could very well end up being played at Pearland High School. Pearland High School, remember this, or Dawson High School. You can rest assured that would be probably the site that they would probably agree on, off the top of my head. This stuff ain't complicated. They try to find a neutral site. That means both teams have to drive the same distance. Now, of course, Shadow Creek is closer to both of those schools, but Shadow Creek is only 4 miles away from Hightower, maybe 5 miles. Those people ain't got no problem going there because Pearland and Dawson are schools that Shadow Creek will have to play at next year when they become members of that same district. But right now, those two schools are 6A. Shadow Creek we're going up to 6A.
Jimmy, Kevin Lawton said something unique. He said it's the other way around. The second place team would play Port Arthur Memorial. Because that's assuming Port Arthur Memorial must be in first place. You remember Port Arthur Memorial, evidently last year, they wasn't in first place.
That's right. That's right.
They lost.
But the Barbers Hill beat them.
Yeah.
So that's what that states. I just assumed they was in first.
Yeah.
I had it right, but I missed it wrong. Right on the teams, on what's available. Because I just thought about it.
So first place don't have to play them.
I stand corrected.
Okay.
Because of the fact I forgot that past Port Arthur Memorial to win they had to play a play-in game. I mean a tiebreaker game. Remember? And I was there when them white kids from Barbers Hill. I should have grew some dreadlocks for that game. That's what I should have done.
Well, I was there when Hightower beat them.
You know what? I got an idea. If anybody played Barbers Hill, that'd be one of the good perks for the football. The football student athletes normally are supportive of their basketball classmates in times of postseason of big games. Uh-huh. They should go get some roster wigs with the dreads and put them on and wear them in the stands.
Oh, that's right.
Barbers Hill is a high school who suspended the young man or denied him the opportunity to graduate recently. The kid was on Ellen at the Oscars and has became a national admired face of the hair issue.
DeAndre, what's his?
Davis, I think.
Yeah.
Davis. I think it's Davis. And
DeAndre Arnold.
Is it Arnold?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So sorry about that. So that means the second place team out of Hightower and Shadow Creek, right? The second place team will go over to the other side of the bracket.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
I got it right here. Hold on. I'm gonna show you something, man. I got it in my notes. I have the bracket from last year. And I have the bracket from last year, guys. You guys can't see it right here, but I am looking at it. And Shadow Creek, the winner of that district will avoid Port Arthur Memorial. Once again.
So Port Arthur has clinched number one?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much.
All right.
Pretty much. Port Arthur Memorial right now, they're 11-0. Needleland is right behind them. And, they would be
That's
the team.
interesting. That's interesting.
So that's what's
Let's
at stake.
go win it then, baby.
So it is something at
Stake.
more at stake.
Yes.
It means you want to be first
Yes.
in that district.
Yes.
Remember, Porto Memorial beat Shadow Creek a year ago. Not only beat them, held them to under 40 points in the game. I think it was 46-36. And so you want to come in first place in 24-5A. Now, the breaking news I promised you guys about this morning, you know, every Tuesday and sometimes on Wednesday, this was a special day on this Wednesday because it's normally on Tuesdays that they have, the UIL have hearings. They send me emails. They sent me one on Monday, matter of fact, and I'm going to read the email to you guys. I'm going to read the email to you guys. I got it right here somewhere. And let me see. And I'm gonna pull this up for y'all, and that way you really understand that, you know, I'm plugged in with the UIL now. Don't get it twisted. Here it goes. Damn, I deleted the email, but I got the one they sent me today. Here's what they sent me today from the UIL. The UIL State Executive Committee meeting results. They met Wednesday to hand down decisions of eligibility of student athletes and issue penalties for UIL rule violation. The Duncanville High School football program was issued a 1-year probation and a public reprimand for the violation of UIL rules regarding the employment of coaches. Head football coach Reginald Samples was issued a 1-year probation and suspended for the first game of the 2020 football season. What does this mean? Well, when I got the email on Monday, I reached out to my hot tower basketball coach and said, what the hell going on down there? Is that because it didn't say it was football or basketball. When the first email came the other day, it said Duncanville High School coaches is on the docket for hiring, you know, for hiring issue. And I was like, whoa, man, y'all in trouble? No, it ain't us, man. That's football. Well, here's what happened. In a nutshell, the Duncanville High School football team had somebody on the sidelines who was not a member of an employee of the school or the school district. It was a grassroots guy on the sideline. Let me say it again. That's not legal because that same guy has the capacity to go in another game, go sit in the stands, go video. You know, if you see people top video in game, go do this, and you don't know who this person is. He's on your sideline helping you coach. What the hell? And it happens, but it ain't supposed to happen at Duncanville High School when all eyes on you after going to the state championship game in the highest classification of Texas football 2 years in a row. So Duncanville High School, you know, that's sad. And, you know, the superintendent of Duncanville went to college with me over at Texas Southern.
So he got in trouble also?
No. He just that, you know, he had
to hand down the gauntlet.
He hand down. Well, this thing here, they go when it's coaches like that, they go straight directly to the UIL to stick their chest out and get their punishment. You know, so this is what happened. Duncanville High School guys has been placed on 1-year probation and received a public reprimand, and the head coach has been suspended for the first game of the regular season. That's, you know, Kevin Freeman said Duncanville hiring dudes off the streets. Come on, man. That's what Duncanville, anybody DFW, what do you have to say about this? What are your thoughts on this?
Man, you know, he had the man on the man. Come on, man. The man trying to get a competitive edge. Hey, Houston, just go to Houston. They were trying to do, the Houston Astros showed them how to do that. Yeah. The Houston Astros showed them how to cheat. Yeah. So that's all right. They get it on. Hey, if you what you said about the Astros, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Man, the poor Astros, man.
No,
I,
it's all
I
good.
guys, this stuff is getting really, understand with the Astros, they gave the players written agreements of immunity in exchange for their depositions of the events related to the sign stealing scandal. So for baseball to go against that agreement, it would totally involve the Players Association. It would totally be against what would be the equivalent of antitrust issues, because you gave these guys written documentation that their statements, their admissions, their compliance would not warrant into any individual suspensions. Right? In doing so, I'm not sure. I have to go back and check. I'm almost certain that they probably told the Astros this ain't and I know baseball made handed down a verdict that they would not affect their world championship. Now it's become known, Hatter, that Carlos Beltran
He the rain. He running the rain.
is rumored to be the godfather,
the ringleader
of this. Now, let me explain something to you guys before you get. Carlos Beltran played for the Astros. We loved him. He was recently the manager. Now you understand why they fired his ass from New York Mets so quickly. Think about it. He got fired before. It was like Carlos Beltran, oh, you gone. They knew already. He was gone within a week and with no pushback. Think about it. Old Hinch from the Astros, he done pushed back a little bit. Got out there, hey man, he done rolled Astros under the bus. Carlos Beltran ain't said my mumbling word. So understand this. I want you to pick your timeline. Before the Astros won, he was with the Astros 1 year during this 6-year span. He was with the Yankees. Right. He was with the Yankees 2 years. Then with the Astros. Then with the Yankees 3 years after that.
So the Yankees wasn't doing it?
So that's my thought. So if y'all want to play this game, Yankees.
But Jimmy,
then you think Carlos Beltran, you think he just came to Houston and found a way to decode and legal and beat the system with cheating and stealing signs? And you think for a minute he went to New York and all of a sudden we can't do it in New York. We ain't gonna do this over here. Shit.
Okay, that's a great point. Guess why they hired him. But guess what, Jimmy? I want to share this with y'all because I saw it early this morning. I woke up early this morning, and Michigan State, you remember their coach quit the other day, all them scandals, all that stuff.
Oh, man.
They hired Mel Tucker, happened to be an African-American who resigned as Colorado's coach earlier Wednesday. Now, he ain't been in Colorado but a year. Boy, it's some parents, Drew Pearson. Not Drew Pearson. Yeah, Drew Pearson. Not be Drew Pearson. I'm going to tell you, somebody's son had signed. I'm going to get my notes in a minute. But Jimmy, he ain't been to Colorado but a year. He got a lot of recruits coming to Colorado. And now he gone. But Jimmy, I'm not mad at him gone. Jimmy, they doubled his salary. Jimmy, he turned them down. They came to him early. He said, no, man, I love Colorado. I ain't going to do nothing. Get what he said about the transfer portal. Y'all kids need to quit all that transfer. You can't transfer in real life. It's this Mel Tucker, the brother. A transfer portal does not exist in real life. Yes, it do. Yes, it do. Jimmy. It's unbelievable. But Jimmy, I'm not Mad at Ole Miss. Yo, let me tell y'all about Ole Miss, okay? In 6 years, let me tell you about Ole Miss Tucker, Jimmy. His salary in 6 years, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Kenneth Lofton, has risen 940%. Numbers man.
Say what now?
Hit in 6 years, Mel Tucker, the coach, from 2015, he was making $500,000. Okay? 2016, he was making $850,000. 2017, $900,000. 2018, Jimmy, 1.5. Last year, 2.4. Them folks said, look at him. We doubling your salary and gave him $5.2 million. Reported. Might be a little bit more, a little less. Drew Pearson came on Twitter and said Mel Tucker is a con man.
Whoa.
He recruited my grandson to go to CU, said he's not going nowhere, then ups and leaves. Sat there and lied to my face. He wasn't going nowhere. So I want to beat him up today on social media. What else can I do? Coach, Jimmy. But each one of those kids who he signed, to me, Jimmy should be able to get out of their letter of intent without no recourse. But it's not going to happen. The kid's stuck. What you think about that, Jimbo?
No, I think that, of course, letters of intent are case-by-case basis, but I really believe that most young men that want to get out of them letters of intent, I think that...
No, I think they've already signed, Jim. Shit,
I know.
it was Wednesday they just signed. Yeah.
I know you can release. I think for PR purposes, I think that the athletic director will release those players who signed, especially the ones who signed last week. Those who signed last week. Now, the ones that signed in December will probably be a case-by-case basis. I'm pretty certain that it's going to go. I'm pretty certain that because Colorado would be punished for the actions of this man. Understand in case you didn't know, just this past last week, the rumor had seeped out. See, that's one thing about today's society. And I mentioned this when I on the VIP news, and I was explaining yesterday about how news seep out. Somebody's going to tell somebody. Somebody's going to tell their wife. Somebody's going to tell their boy. Somebody's going to tell their barber. Somebody's going to mention it. Somebody's going to tell somebody. And in the midst of doing so, they going to tell somebody. Because they're going to let them know, I got the inside. I ain't going to tell you where it come from, but man, hey, man, I know they're going to hide. So then the rumor made its way to social media. So that means the Colorado fans were pushing back as to saying, wait a minute, signing date is coming up. What the hell? Where are you going? So Mel Tucker went to Twitter and posted that he's dedicated to, in an effort to water out the brush fires. I'm dedicated to Colorado. I'm not going anywhere.
Jimmy, that's before they doubled the offer. They gave him an offer, Jimmy. They offered him first and he turned it down.
I understand that. Still, if that's your statement, that's your word.
But as the facts change.
Understand, still, you shouldn't have never put that tweet out. You go deal with that one by one with those players that you're dealing with. You don't put that out there like that. So now, because
but at that time he had planned on staying.
Understand it. Let me tell you why. Because now, why should I believe you at Michigan State? That you wouldn't leave now to go for another job that close. Why should I believe you now?
He ain't going right now.
Hell, he was only there for 1 year, Hatter. He was only in Colorado 1 year.
That's right.
He was 1 year.
So, but Jimmy, ain't nobody finna come give him $10 million, Jimmy.
No, but I'm saying you never know.
Yes, I do know.
Michigan, let's say Michigan is in a conference where they get consideration for the NFL play, for the college playoff. They're not a favorite. They're not in the hunt. Yes,
they're a sixth place team, fifth or sixth place team.
Yeah, that's why they're in the hunt for a new coach, right? So, but let's say they hit a streak, and let's say in reality they go from sixth to the first place in the Big Ten, and next thing you know, and this guy gets a bid. You never know how dominoes can fall. Now he becomes sexy. Let's say Nick Saban say, "The hell with this stuff. I'm gonna go on back to the NFL." Remember, this guy worked for Nick Saban.
Yes, it's Nick Saban's due.
Back in the days at Michigan State. So, what? Here's a brother. It looked nasty because earlier this morning you mentioned Drew Pearson got on him.
Who else got?
Keyshawn Johnson got on him hard this morning.
Let's not read Keyshawn Johnson's mail.
No, but still, that's
he had to because he was part of the meeting. But he was one of the worst.
And I think Keyshawn has a son that's a prospect.
Keyshawn Johnson shouldn't have been on TV talking about nobody improprieties and nobody's integrity. Just take that from me. Y'all go Google Keyshawn Johnson. I don't even know why ESPN got him on there. He is the perfect guy for second, third, fourth, fifth chances. So guess what? Leave old Mel alone. Mel said, Jimmy, I went from $2 million to $5 million. Jimmy, I got to go, baby. I got to go.
Everybody has a price. Remember that.
Double your salary, you got to go, Jimmy. I had a couple of more comments, Jimmy, they was telling me about. I wrote down. They talking about it's common sense. It need to be a rule change, right? They said Mel Tucker leaves Colorado for Michigan State. Then every student athlete recruited by him should be free to leave without penalty. Otherwise, they can take advantage of the $150,000 a year Colorado education for the next 4 or 5 years and get your degree debt free. Somebody said this on Twitter. I'm not a coach, but if I was, I would tell my players, as we develop you on and off the field, whatever profession you choose, if someone doubles your salary, Jimmy, doing something you love, and integrity isn't compromised, and you should strongly consider that. You should strongly or you not doing, or I'm not doing my job. He ain't the coach. They just gave this somebody's opinion. I'm just giving you dude. Let me tell you something, man. Jimmy, coaches are hired to get fired. And didn't you say that? They could have fired him. If he was losing, they'd have fired his ass. Am I right? So, Jimmy, hey, great move. I mean, guess what? That means and Jimmy, are they going to offer the job to Eric Bieniemy? And if I was Eric Bieniemy, I wouldn't touch it. That's where he graduated from.
That's where he played. That's where he started in Colorado. I mean, right now, but he would get a hell of a pay raise.
But if I was him, I'll wait because he next in line. If somebody get fired next year, he the man.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna read to y'all some stuff tomorrow about that.
See now, head coach, it's different levels, but that money, it depends on if he's trying to
1 year and you out. You right?
If he's trying to create generational wealth, then especially in Colorado, they will love and embrace the hell out of Eric Bieniemy, and somebody now will be willing because remember you mentioned earlier. Michigan State, whatever they have, I think they had like a $3 million buyout for Tucker.
Right.
So that means that You know, they can go and give.
I want him to be an NFL coach. So, hey, they threw his name out there. A good name to throw out there, coach, in your other coaching searches. But yeah, Troy said he won't. I said, Troy, believe you me, I knew he wouldn't. That man on the big show, that man just won a Super Bowl. I'm not finna go mess with and have to recruit and mess with these crazy parents. Heck no. I'm finna go to the league where these dudes I know can play. I ain't got to develop nobody then. So, but that, hey, it's a good thought though. I thought that was interesting. But Jimmy, I'm just so proud of Mel Tucker, even Big Jimmy, being in the position. What we say, Jimmy, even having an opportunity to do that. And remember now, I got something unique about the NFL. Y'all gonna be saying, damn, Robert, you've been flip-flop. No, I'm gonna show you what I've been building up for the NFL tomorrow. But Jimmy, one more thing. Ivy had an article by Jeff Borzello about the Ivy League transfer policy. Helping players or hurting them. You know, the Ivy League, let's say you play in Ivy League. Mm-hmm. You get hurt. You can't play that season, right? They don't redshirt you. You just got to go to class and you got to finish whatever class you start with, you have to finish with that class. You follow me? You graduate with that class. They don't offer fifth years or grad school. They don't offer that, right? So that's when some of those guys wind up like Micaiah Mason, you know, left and went to Baylor. You know, a lot of these guys. So they what the Ivy League is becoming now, they got a few players that can play pretty good at a higher level. So what these guys do, Jimmy, but it's hurting the Ivy League because guess what? They done spent all this time. These guys have got better in the Ivy League because they had the what? The opportunity to play. Now they make themselves attractive to the Power Five in the bigger conference. And these guys, you know, and guess what, Jimmy? When they graduate from the Ivy League, they're immediately eligible. So colleges have been calling the coach. In Columbia, they got a pretty good player. A lot of colleges are trying to get him to go. So they calling the coach. The coach in the middle of his season. Coach ain't got time to be filling no calls like that. But other coaches calling him saying, hey, man, can we have a shot at him? Do we have a shot at him? So it's a great article on ESPN by Jeff Borzello just talking about it. Because guess what? I prophesy, and I know in a few years, it's going to be a lot of our athletes in this city of Houston going to have the academic piece together and going to have the playing, the physical part together, and they're going to be playing in the Ivy League, changing the way this thing thinks. And Jimmy, the Ivy League are going to take a look at this to keep and try to prevent from losing their players. They trying to take a look at a graduate school or fifth-year guy. They've never did it in the 66th year of it, and but they're going to think about it now.
Well, we'll see how that turns out, and because that's a sensitive subject, and that's bottom line, because if you're going to Ivy League, is in most cases, academics is a big part in the equation. Yeah. You are indeed student athlete. Yeah. As opposed to being athlete student at the majority of the other institutions around at the Division I status around the country. And speaking of the NCAA.
Oh, yes. Your boy Mark? Your boy Mark Emmert?
You guys understand that the NCAA, and this guy Mark Emmert, remember I explained to you guys, California, to show just how much of a thorn that the state of California and their governor has been to the NCAA. It's been reported, according to the Associated Press, that the NCAA has spent, right, about $750,000 in 2019 on lobbying,
lobbyists,
right, on Capitol Hill.
Yes.
right? That's $750,000 that the NCAA, who don't have the money to give to pay these student athletes, but they spent that to sway elected officials to stand with them on this issue of the fair pay to play.
And Jimmy, just in case people don't know, a lobbyist is a person who takes part in an organization in to attempt to influence legislators. So this is just a group of people, of talking heads that knows, like I know Jimmy the senator, Jimmy, hey man, hey, payola. Jimmy, if they spent that kind of money, Jimmy, that money got in somebody's hands. So they trying to influence how these people vote on Capitol Hill. Now, I just want to add that for you.
Absolutely.
In case people didn't know who it was.
And understand, a lot of the people don't trust the NCAA.
Yes.
And have rightful, and it's evident enough with compounded issues of evidence for the general public, as well as elected officials, to not trust the NCAA. If you're trying to lobby and spend this to lobby to get me to side with you, that means you already know you're dirty. We know you're dirty already. Because why in the hell are you here? If it's a fair issue, and up to 25 states are set to pass legislation that will pave roads for student athletes to be compensated for their likeness.
Jimmy, you see what Marsha Blackburn told him?
Marsha Blackburn, where's she from?
She's a senator from Tennessee, Republican.
She talked about, that's the one who talked about the James Wiseman stuff.
She excoriated him. They said she excoriated him. I mean, they said she went at him and for the handling of the sexual violence of women on these campuses that she hadn't did nothing about. And then she also noted a case in James Wiseman with, a top NBA athlete who was given $11,000 by his AAU coach, which was Penny at the time. And he talked, and guess what he told her, Jimmy? Well, I didn't really look into that issue. He said, you the president, you the CEO. You should have been looking into it. He talking about he's not that versed on that particular case. Dude, you're a clown. That what she was telling him. How in the hell? Everybody in the country talking about this case, and you are not versed on this particular case? Unbelievable. That's why the people and the parents, like you just said, Jimmy, don't trust them. Because, hey, guess what? It's just a lack of consistency, a lack of transparency in all these things. So, yeah, they say she got on his butt.
And so now, as you see, the NCAA, once again, it's going to be a great day. And it would be, because their thing is, how would they be able to implement and monitor rules, blanket rules for all colleges if the rules vary from state to state? But then the people tell them, okay, well, we're the government. Same way we monitor effective rules when for different felonies or cases. Some states it's legal to smoke marijuana. Some it's not. The same way it can be done. We're doing it in the country. Certain people certain things you can do in certain states, you can't do in others. Those rules aren't the same. There's not one blanket thing.
Yeah, that's where the hiccup gonna come, Jim.
So my thing is the likeness, understand. Allowing student athletes to earn from their likeness does not cost the NCAA nothing off their immediate coffers. Now it could affect them down the line because of sponsors that they already have would be compromised, or it would be deals they have in place. But at the same time, think of it like this. For example, certain schools, let's say Texas A&M, their basketball program has an Adidas deal. That's with their basketball program. That letter of intent didn't say that you have to buy. That's part, you wear that uniform, has got that. But then if that young man, I'm quite sure they will put something in place to not make it the wild, wild west. That means like that wherever a kid come to that school and Nike want to give him a specific deal, how would that work if that program has an Adidas for their uniform? I don't think that I don't think that will that type of situation would be at a stance or a face off. I think they would make some amenities because remember Michael Jordan's son went to a school, Central Florida, back in the days, about a decade or so ago. That school didn't wear Nikes.
He did. He wore his dad's shoe.
And it came up. Michael Jordan, let me tell you something. It ain't no damn way in the world you work for Nike, or not for them, but the brand, the Jordan brand is you work for that. You're an ambassador for that. Now, of course, you're a part owner of the brand, but you are an ambassador of it. And you go to this school on an official visit with your son, and you know it ain't no way you can't tell that they are Adidas program. You know what you're getting into. Now, in their mind, they might say, well, hell, we're going to have Michael Jordan's son wearing Adidas. That's great for Adidas, but then it didn't work out that way. So that's what I'm saying. I think that it will be a situation that will sort itself out when it comes to that. But all players should have the right to earn from their likeness. Now, the thing is that people are going to find out soon enough, there's going to be haves and have-nots. Just like we just found out that what's the numbers, Hatter? 99.3%. Get this. Out of the top 100 football recruits, 99.3%. Right? Choose colleges within Power 5 conferences.
Yes, sir. Anyway.
So those bigger pockets, bigger equals bigger boosters,
yes.
Equals bigger.
They had the advantage.
So it's, guess what? But at the same time, just because you go there, every kid ain't finna get a billboard for a car dealership. That's going to the quarterback or the leading scorer on the baseball field. I mean, on the basketball team, or the leading home run hit on the baseball field, or the leading slugger on the softball team, think about it. Though the jocks are still going to be, you going to the small Southland Conference, there's an opportunity, but for you to be going to that school initially, if you could have went to that Power 5 school, you probably would have signed there. But guess what? You get to Huntsville, Texas, Samuel State, they got car dealerships down there too. You see, they're not going to pay as much as an Ohio State would pay. And speaking of Ohio State, hell, did you see two football players have been indicted for rape under the watch of Gene Upshaw, who sits his butt right in the middle of all this stuff going on. Remember, I said it's going to come and on your watch, right? Speaking of sexual violence against women, as Marsha Blackburn says, or chastised the NCAA and Mark Emmett about just yesterday. Gene Upshaw, under your watch, because lack of institutional controls goes from the head coach up and then shift upwards to the AD. This story about two guys that played on a football team. One of the guys had this little girl come to their apartment. They're having, which she agreed, consensual sex. This is Women Rock Wednesday.
Okay.
Add some females. I had to add some story with some females in.
Come on, let's work.
And consensual sex. And in the midst of doing so, his buddy walks in the room and say, can I, basically, in a nutshell, I'm paraphrasing, can I join?
Okay.
She was like, she wasn't really feeling that. She was like, no, I'm good.
Right.
Next thing you know, They done double teamed the girl. Put it like that, for whatever sake of the words you want. They've done double teamed the girl, and then the girl went to and told her folks and went to the police after she left. They made a video with the girl after doing it, in which one guy was heard snickering, saying that, this was consensual, right? We want you to say it's consensual. Both young men were 21 years old, and they are already indicted. They're So this at Ohio State, who's been just bombarded with issues off the field for the most of the past decade and a half.
The girl was all right with the one dude.
Yeah, she was down with the one dude. That was her dude. That was her little piece.
Junebug gonna come in there and mess it up for everybody. You go get your own girl.
He the roommate. They gonna make the girl commit the act.
Yeah, they need to go to that penitentiary. What Jim? What you Jim? That other world. They need to. Yeah. There's a whole new world waiting on them.
And then and it's crazy because now what's going to happen? I'm gonna tell you how this is going to go down. Them two roommates, I wouldn't give it 2 weeks. They won't speak to each other probably for the rest of their life. Watch, because the families, one are gonna say, "Man, I ain't do nothing." The other gonna say, "Mama, he told me to come on in there and get it." They gonna fall out because their story is gonna contradict.
But hold on. But oh, he helped the girl down. You're right. I was trying to help the other dude out, man. He held the girl down, man. Yeah, they going to jail, man.
So are they indicted or are they?
Yeah, they were just booked and charged with first-degree felonies on Tuesday, Jimmy. Kidnapped Jimmy and rape and kidnapping. That's not good, Jimbo. That's not good. That one's not good, Jimmy. I thought you should have got. But you know what? Women Rock wins at Jimmy Wall. What a minute's at? What my countdown?
Oh, Darshell on that. Darshell says she has the check from the NCAA that people call her name instead of his real name. Remember the NCAA? Remember your son was almost eligible for those checks, Haller? The NCAA gave those checks out.
Yeah.
As a part of that class action lawsuit that they settled. Remember that?
Yeah.
So I guess
he even got this check,
but it got the wrong name on it.
What?
It might have Stevie, might not be his real name. You know what I'm saying? Got to have your real name. Got to put your ID to cash the check or to deposit it.
Wow.
Now really cool, Darshell. There's some banks that'll let you put that check in for real. If you got a real bank that you
Jimmy, you ain't finna have Darshell go to that penitentiary mess with. So Darshell, don't listen to him right. No, don't do that, baby. Don't do that, baby. No. We don't need Darshell locked up. She don't look good in the white, what you call them, a white jumpsuit.
White jumper.
Yeah, she don't look good in that. But Jimmy, you know what? I found the video. I want to share this with people because I wanted to really hit home when I was talking about the Halle Berry situation, Jim, and then I'm gonna let you end it. I'm gonna hit it like.
I have a question about the Heisman winners of Black History. Oh my God, I see my brother though. Hi, how are you?
How you doing? Oh my God, I love Lamar Dawson. I just tell you how important it is to see Boomerang with gay, black representation.
You heard her say, I got to go talk to my brother. Then another
who wanted to speak with you, and your publicist said you had no more time. Yes. And then you made the time for them. So my question is, why is that so important as the talent to make the time for the media?
Well, I'm going to make time for the media, and I'm certainly going to make time for my Black brothers and sisters.
That was a moment happening.
I didn't know that. I just thought I can't pass this brother up. I've talked to other people. I'm going to talk to him too. Like, it wasn't even a thought. It's just it's who you are. It's yeah.
Did y'all see that? And then this week, at the Oscars. It's gonna be short. Here's the young lady Cynthia Erivo who played Harriet. She from the UK. Here's her.
Cynthia! It's Lola! Cynthia! Yes!
I have to. Yeah.
This one really
Jimmy. She said she have to. I just did. I wanted people to see the visual so y'all can understand my passion about it the other day. It's just when we in positions of power, Halle Berry said I had to. Cynthia said I had to. So, you know, I can't get it off my mind, Jimmy, because, you know, Jimmy, we in this world. We in this space, you know. I got to get out here tomorrow and probably go up there to 1 degree weather in Chicago. But I don't know, Jimmy. Why they had that thing in Chicago? The All-Star game. Jimmy, it's 1 degree.
Guess what? A lot of them stars know how to. It's gonna keep the riffraffs out the way, because they still gonna have Kenny Smith still gonna have his party.
I'm riffraff.
It's still gonna be the best party in the land.
But Jim, I ain't going for no party.
I understand it though.
It's a lot of other stuff I have to go and get to every day in the snow, in the snow. Dude, a logistical nightmare. I'm gonna be Mr. Uber. I'm not going. I tell you what, it's according to how much, I had to change this. Jim, how much you get back on this ticket? But you know the All-Star game is coming up this weekend. I think a lot of the NBA games. Jimmy, how many NBA games tonight? They're gonna have a light. They're gonna be light the night.
Well, yeah. Because a lot of teams ended last night, but there's a few games on tap tonight in the NBA. We're playing and highlighted by the Lakers at the Denver Nuggets. That's a 9 p.m. Central Time tip-off on ESPN. Milwaukee is at Indiana. Maybe Oladipo can help break the 5-game losing streak for the Pacers. That's Milwaukee at Indiana at 6:30, followed by the Lakers at Denver. Both of those games on ESPN. Now, there's other games of significance. As Toronto at Brooklyn, can Toronto extend their 15-game winning streak, which is magnificent going into the break? Ironically, their head coach is coaching the All-Star team for the I think team.
What team? I don't know what team he got. It's got me mixed up. Oh, and Zion! Look what Zion did last night. But keep going. Yeah.
And another game that's Miami is at Utah tonight. Keep your eyes on that game as well. And other than that, that's pretty much. Other games are just. Well, Sacramento is at Dallas because Luka returns tonight. So all eyes will be on Luka in his return. He is box office, whether you want to believe it or not. But Luka he returns to the scene tonight. And the Rockets, they're off for All-Star break.
They're done.
The NBA blessed the Houston Rockets. Think about it. There's teams that play tonight, and there's teams that play tomorrow night. Right? That means that's 2 days less that they get to spend with their family. So some guys with the Rockets, they was out of their first thing smoking this morning, going home to their families, see their mom.
1, 2, 3, Cancun.
I'm just saying some guys go, I'm just saying, all different directions. And then then some may go to Chicago, some may bypass it altogether. They've been there, done that. But man, think about that.
You know what's unique? I was sitting there watching since they went small ball. Everybody complained about it. They got a 2-2 record, right? But one of those losses, Jimmy, was that buzzer beater by that guy. Because they could have easily been 3-1 and didn't have but the blowout loss to it. So we'll see how they rested.
Count it like this. One thing about the chop shop, we add some stuff in to not be swayed by their narrative. Let's not push. Let me add some reality to that. Mm-hmm. Don't just start counting when Capella got traded because he didn't play. So really, they could have been 6-1. They 5-2.
That's right.
Capella ass was gone, and trust me, Capella knew he was gone.
Yeah.
That's why I said that injury came, and he still, but he knew he was gone, and some people on that team knew he was gone.
Yeah.
News don't make it way to mainstream till a few days later. They know inside the locker room.
Jimmy, have he played again in Atlanta?
No.
We ain't heard from him no more. He in the witness protection. He must be at Magic City then.
Well, Lil Ugly played down there. Lil Ugly can tell him where to go. Lil Ugly played in Atlanta.
He must be at Magic. Think about it, Jimmy. We haven't even talked about Capella. That's why the Rockets got rid of Capella, man. But Jimmy, we can close it out.
That's why they going crazy talking about Holly Berry.
They talking about, I want to look at her. Yeah.
So, of course, Zion, with his 31 points last night, 9 rebounds, great game for him, becoming one of our only 2 players to post that type of number in history, joining Michael Jordan. And then also, so Zion, guess what, man? And remember how I said it last month? It was kind of hard to believe, but I still said it. And I said that.
Don't listen to Stephen A. Smith.
No. I said this before. No. Ain't no Stephen A. Smith. I said this last month, the day before he came back.
You said it, but I'm just telling you, don't listen.
I say if, and I still stand on it. If the Pelicans make the playoffs, I said it back then. After his first game, I say then Zion is going to get the Rookie of the Year.
If because my auntie had a beard, she'd be my uncle.
Remember. I'm telling y'all now. You think I'm joking? Just pay attention to how people gonna fall in love, and they're gonna magnify what they already love, and the people already love Zion. So many millions are resting on this young man to revive. So it's going to be good, and we'll see how they go. But anyway, guys, it's that
look
time.
at Michael Jordan, man. Something wrong with him, man. He talking about Dwight Howard's friend in Atlanta breaking in Capella, man.
No, which one is friend? Talking about the dude.
I know what they're talking about.
That's what he's talking about, that dude. Well, anyway, guys, don't forget, guys, go over to RCS Sports and get your daily recap of a lot of the high school games from around the area. RCSsports.com. Check that out. And also, what you got?
I just want everybody to enjoy Hightower Day today. This Hightower Day today. Enjoy the rest of this day. It's a great day in Zamunda.
With that being said, it's time to slide on down Dino's back and yabba dabba do this thing. Make sure you share the show, guys, to your timelines and your friends. We need you guys to share that show at least once or twice during every episode. It helps to recirculate the word about the Chop Shop. You never know. It's always one day that somebody new is becoming abreast of the show. And our goal is to help expedite and entertain you during your work days so that you can be more productive throughout the rest of the day to come. Thank you guys for tuning into the Chop Shop. Thank you guys for supporting it. Please come back tomorrow. We're going to have one hell of a topic on this Baby Friday. Oh, yeah. We're going to take our preview of the NBA All-Star game and enlighten you on some of the stuff that takes place around there, as well as what we think on some of these teams and what are the expectations of some of we're going to take our pick, who's going to get MVP, of the game.
Yeah, we'll do that tomorrow.
A lot more. Plus, we're going to talk more about some other stuff that we missed today, and we're going to have in our mailbag as well. If you have a question about recruiting, send us an email at chopshophtx@gmail.com. chopshophtx@gmail.com. On behalf of Robert Haller, this is Jim Hicks, guys. See you guys on 22 hours. Chop Shop.
We out. Let me hit that button.
Jim Hicks. Rob Hatter. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the